There was a big story that came out yesterday about the Trump administration and Russia. And this, of course, is, making its way around on Twitter, and it was probably the biggest story of the day. It was, explosive headlines over it. But what happened is Steve Bannon allegedly referred to Donald Trump Jr.'s meeting with a Russian nobody to give him dirt on Clinton. He called it treasonous. But to me, everybody's burying the lead of the story here. Because, so there is, in what I think is an absolute bombshell in that story. I don't think the angle I just discussed, which is the headline on every story, I don't think that that's really the bombshell. So there's a guy named Michael Wolff, who's a columnist for The Guardian, and he was the biographer for Rupert Murdoch. And what happened is I guess he showed up to the White House and he's like, yeah, here are my credentials, and I'm going to report on you guys. And is it cool if I'm like intimately involved? And for whatever reason, people in Trump's inner circle said, sure, yeah, you could be here. So this guy has a lot of crucial moments. He got quotes from a lot of crucial moments in the administration. And also, I saw a headline earlier today that said he might even have recordings of some of these things that were said. So this guy wrote a book, and here's what The Guardian says, quote, Bannon has criticized Trump's decision to fire Comey. In Wolff's book, obtained by The Guardian ahead of publication from a bookseller in New England, he suggests White House hopes for a quick end to Mueller's investigation are gravely misplaced. So now this is Wolff quoting Bannon. Quote, you realize where this is going, he says. This is all about money laundering. Mueller chose senior prosecutor Andrew Weissman first, and he is a money laundering guy. Their path to fucking Trump goes right through Paul Manafort, Don Jr., and Jared Kushner. It's as plain as a hair on your face. Last month, it was reported that federal prosecutors had subpoenaed records from Deutsche Bank, the German financial institution that has lent hundreds of millions of dollars to the Kushner property empire. Bannon continues, quote, it goes through Deutsche Bank and all the Kushner shit. The Kushner shit is greasy. They're going to go right through that. They're going to roll those two guys up and say, play me or trade me. Scorning apparent White House insouciance, Bannon reaches for a hurricane metaphor. Quote, they're sitting on a beach trying to stop a Category 5. Wow. Okay, so what this means is, again, Trump's former right-hand man is going, whether it's Manafort, Flynn, Kushner, that shit, they're dirty. They're dirty. And they subpoenaed records from Deutsche Bank, which gets into all of their finances. And when you do that, them trying to stop this Mueller investigation and trying to act like there's no there, that's like them sitting on a beach trying to stop a Category 5 hurricane. So this is Bannon saying the shady fucking business deals that Kushner was involved in, Manafort, and Trump, those shady business deals are going to come back to bite him in the ass, and they're going to nail him on money laundering. There you have it. So in other words, this is what I've been saying for literally 5 months now. There was a story in Reuters that came out 5 months ago where they said that Mueller is no longer looking at this investigation in just a way where he's trying to prove that Trump is Putin's puppet and he's guilty of treason. He's expanded this to Trump's business empire, and they're looking for financial crimes. And when you try to find financial crimes in Trump's record and Kushner's record, oh, you're going to find them. There is no doubt about that. In fact, we just covered a story a few weeks ago about how it was a hotel in Panama that Trump had that he purchased and he was intimately involved with. And they were caught laundering Russian mob money. So you want a Russia scandal, there's your Russia scandal. He's laundering money for the Russian mafia. What this means is, I think it's a total, complete, and utter pipe dream of corporate Democrats to say, oh, you're going to get Trump on being some sort of Manchurian candidate who did treason, who, like, really? A guy who literally was tweeting the other day threatening nuclear war. That guy is somehow under the thumb and being controlled by a nefarious foreign actor. I got news for you. Not a single person on the fucking planet can control that madman. So, no, he's not Putin's puppet. He didn't do treason. You know, it's not there's not a foreign agent who's in control of the United States at the moment. I think that's a corporate Democrat pipe dream where they get Trump on something like that. But what's real as a heart attack is they can get him on financial crimes. We already know that people in the administration are guilty of rank, disgusting corruption. And you might even, these guys are so dumb, you might even find legit quid pro quos. But there was always this thought in my mind of they might not be able to nail Trump. They might only be able to get the circle around him. Like, okay, you got Manafort, you got Flynn, but what are you going to do? You know, there's a chance Mueller comes out and he clears Trump and he's like, well, we got the people around him, but you can't really trace the line directly back to Trump. Similar to the Chris Christie Bridgegate thing, how they're like, well, you know, hey, we got the people around him, but somehow Christie gets away with it, even though the idea was Christie told his top aides to shut the bridge, but they couldn't trace that line directly back to him. But no, with Bannon saying this, that leads me to believe that Bannon thinks, no, Trump is going down. He's going down, and he's going down for money laundering and financial crimes. And if Trump's right-hand man is saying that basically Trump is going down for money laundering and financial crimes, well then shit, Trump might be going down for money laundering and financial crimes. It's not just that they got dirt on Flynn and they got dirt on Manafort and they got dirt on Kushner. It's that, no, they might actually have in Trump's financial records things that can only be explained through money laundering for the mafia, accepting money from foreign governments and doing their bidding. There's a huge difference between he's a puppet to Putin and he did treason and he's like some sort of Manchurian candidate. There's a huge difference between that claim, which is the claim that many corporate Democrats are making, and the claim of, oh shit, we found that he's, money laundering and we caught him on that. We found that he is doing the bidding of foreign governments, but if you want to talk about doing the bidding of foreign governments, again, Saudi Arabia took $250,000 from them for when they stayed at his hotel. They way overpaid him, of course. He registered 8 businesses in Saudi Arabia during the campaign, and then boom, he approved over $100 billion weapons deal for them. So there is him actually doing the bidding of a foreign government because they actually got something from it. They got the weapons deal. You know? You can see in virtually every administration, you could see these kinds of things with Israel. So you can see when the administration actually does favors. Again, the example of Turkey. They did Turkey's bidding, and Flynn took the money from Turkey. The thing with Russia that I always tell everybody to pump their brakes on is that you can't argue that this is treason or he's Putin's puppet if Putin has gotten nothing out of this relationship, and he hasn't gotten anything out of this relationship. Russia has not gotten anything from this administration. And you could scream until you're blue in the face and say I'm an apologist of Trump, which is hilarious given how much I'm against him and how over 50% of my segments are against Trump on a daily basis. But you'd simply be wrong. There's just no evidence to suggest that that's the case. There's no evidence to suggest that they're doing the bidding of Russia when they haven't done the bidding of Russia. So the pipe dream of the corporate Democrats is not coming true. But there are real charges. There are real crimes here that they might end up getting them on. So, is that a good thing? Well, sure. I think that's a great thing. But, of course, then you got the other aspect to this, which is if/when they get them, then what? What's going to happen? You going to impeach them? Majority Republican Congress is going to impeach him. And then if they impeach him, okay, you get Pence. The resistance should not be done. Pence is going to be almost equally as bad as Trump. I would now say that Trump is probably worse because he's literally on the verge of war with North Korea, and as bad as Pence is, I'm not sure Pence would be on the brink of war with North Korea, though he'd probably be on the brink of war with 1,000 other countries, and he'd escalate in our 7 other interventions. But Pence might be marginally better than Trump at this point, but you can't stop resisting at that point. So we'll see what ends up happening. But the fact that Bannon is saying these things is really an eye-opener, because that leads me to believe there is a there. When one of Trump's top guys is like, oh, by the way, look out, because there's a fucking monsoon coming.